Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're listening to the third episode of Hobby Talks Special. Today, talking to you in microphones are Domnin
and Aurelian.
Thank you, Domnin. That was actually a question for me, like, how are you gonna introduce me? Like, is it Aurelian or Aurelians? Like,
Yeah, well, I'm just like, subsector Aurelia in the green darkness, so I'm just used to...
Yeah. So the proper actually way of doing this is the one that you used. So the question is, who the hell we are and what we're doing here. So I suggest we just start right there and introduce ourselves a little bit. So we are two Russian dudes, as you can say by the sound we sound, by the way we sound, and we are, I would say, we're quite popular in Russian podcasting scene.
Well, yeah, surprisingly, because really, when Aurelian dragged me into this podcasting scene, my first thought was that, okay, we'll do it like once or twice or maybe thrice at most. And then, well, he'll see that nobody really cares to listen to that shit, so...
Yep.
Well,
and that was 8 years ago. And we're still going.
We're still on. Yeah, we're still on air. So it turned out to be different. And recently we got our second 1,000 of subscribers in Russian social networks.
Yes,
and,
Russian Facebook.
Yeah, well, sort of.
Yeah.
And, so it's suddenly pretty popular. And why is it popular, Aurelian? What do we broadcast?
Yeah, so the thing is that we're a weird podcast, because normally a podcast has some sort of a topic, and people are talking about, I don't know, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies or, I don't know, Bitcoin.
Or other ways waste your money. So.
Exactly. And we are talking about different stuff every episode. So, I don't know, Game of Thrones or medieval weaponry.
I'd say it's like a moderately geeky podcast. So it's everything from fantasy and sci-fi to actual historical weaponry and, episodes from real history, like, I don't know, the 100 Years' War, the War of the Roses.
Yep, exactly.
And sometimes it's something more modern, like we're currently planning an episode on Somalia and,
the piracy.
The shitstorm that is Somali nowadays. And our next podcast is on Asian Special Service.
Yes.
Agencies.
Different countries, different services.
Yes. Intelligence is from North Korea to China to Taiwan and this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we basically talk about everything. And by now I think we are beyond 3,500 episodes if we combine everything. I think the number is actually even close to 400. And obviously all of them are in Russian, and the reason we're doing this in English is we are trying to to achieve two goals here. Goal number one is to gently nudge some of our listeners into, learning foreign languages, because Russia is notoriously known as a country where people don't speak languages. And the reason for that is because when you live in Russia, like, you go 100 kilometers to south, 100 kilometers to north, everyone speaks Russian. And in other countries it doesn't work that way. Well, if we take Europe,
they don't
for
have
example,
that many kilometers there. So.
Exactly. So if you live in Belgium, you go 20 kilometers in any direction, you're in a neighbor country which speaks either Dutch or German or Luxembourgish or French. Or, I don't know if you're...
Wait, there is... Luxembourgish is actually a thing?
It's a thing. It's a German... So, the Germans would probably claim it's German dialect. Luxembourg people will say, no way.
So all three of them?
Dialects?
No, I mean the people in Luxembourg.
Oh, yeah. Those extremely filthy rich guys, even richer than Norwegians with their oil. Yeah, so that's a language. But we got derailed, so this is our first goal. We want our listeners who listen to us on a weekly basis try to be a little bit more, English speaking, so to speak.
Well, to be a little more global. So.
Global, yes, exactly. And the second goal we're trying to achieve here is we have a bunch of foreign-speaking friends, and I myself live in Stockholm. And guess what? There is not a lot of Russians in Stockholm to talk to in Russian, so I have to use English and Swedish to communicate to people. And when you're on a dinner party and talking to people and they're like, yeah, what makes you tick, what do you do when you're not working, and so on and so forth, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm a host of a popular Russian podcast called Hobby Talks, and they're like, oh my god, it's so cool, where can I hear it? And I'm like, guys?
You can hear it, but you can't comprehend it.
You will have to learn some Russian in order to listen to it properly.
And well, so we think that it's time we remedy that and go global, at least global. For the 1st of April.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, we're gonna release this on the 1st of April. So people are gonna be super thrilled. I can vividly imagine, Dominic, how people are super enthusiastic about, yeah, we're gonna listen to this very cool podcast. They will talk about, I don't know what. Last time they talked about beavers and whatever.
No, yeah, really, we did talk about beavers.
Yeah, beavers are actually quite fun. I think it was last 1st April.
Yeah, it was last year.
Exactly. So beavers are cool. Too bad you don't speak Russian if you don't speak Russian to hear it. And this time we're just gonna surprise a lot of people. speaking English, and they're like, oh
yeah,
my
well,
god.
if we fail, I'll blame the language.
Exactly. Yeah, we can always say yeah, it didn't work out because of reasons.
The complexity of English language
was too much to comprehend to Russian populace. Heart and mind. Exactly. So why don't we just briefly, introduce ourselves? So I think with the podcast, it's more or less obvious by now what we're doing.
Yeah.
And what are you doing for a living, Dominic? Where do you live? What do you do?
Usually, when asked what I am, I just say that I'm a modest teacher of English.
Modest teacher of English?
I don't even lie. Yeah, but in fact, I'm more of a hobby teacher, so it's just my hobby.
I
used to be a full-time teacher of English and translator and interpreter, but nowadays I just do that for the joy of teaching and
for fun,
for the good old days. Yeah, for their sake. But mostly I'm a businessman.
Okay, you're solving problems. Can we say that?
I'm a fixer. No, really, I'm head of infrastructure in a private company that, works with, in a developing market. Let's say it like that. So we're currently working on solving the waste recycling problem in Russia.
Okay, let me stop you right there, because by the way it sounds, it really sounds quite scary with a Russian guy with a slight Russian accent.
Yeah,
so I fix problems. I just go there and I fix problems and
dispose of waste.
Exactly, dispose of waste. And people can imagine a human being with I don't know, a gun going there in a black suit, killing people left and right, I don't know, John Wick style, and then disposing the bodies in the huge tanks of acid or something. I guess this is not exactly not what you're doing, right?
No, actually I mostly work on disposing tires, waste tires from cars, and currently the problem is huge in Russia because it has never been properly addressed, and I have actually succeeded in organizing a major project of waste tire collecting and recycling, and we're actually making a profit. And we're currently going international, and there's a bright future ahead of me.
That's great to hear. I'm thrilled to hear that.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm a proud father of a teenage boy.
Oh, here we go. Okay, now we're gonna listen, my friends, a story, like 15-minute story, how handsome and talented this boy is.
Actually, yes, he's handsome and talented. Thanks, Aurelian. So I don't really have to waste 15 minutes of your time because, well, my partner has already done the work for me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so what about you, Aurelian? What do you do so far away in Stockholm, in the place where people eat spoiled fish and whatnot?
Yeah, surströmming, that is the name of this thing. If you never tried it, Google some, YouTube videos of people opening it.
And don't. Just don't try it.
Don't try. This is actually quite funny because in almost 5 years of living in Sweden, I never tried it. So I should do it this summer, and the reason you do it this summer, in summer, because you can open it somewhere like when there are no people around, because it smells like it smells terrible. It's just unbearably terrible.
And here I thought it's summer because you're going to write a will with me as a beneficiary in spring.
Right.
What?
Right,
we're family.
Yeah, this is actually a good idea. I should probably do that. Yes, but speaking of what I'm doing here, so I'm a software developer, and I live in Stockholm for almost 5 years. Before coming here, I used to be a software developer in Russia. I'm also like fixing stuff, so to speak, and I work in a company that provides solution for a nightlife industry in Sweden and worldwide.
So, wait. You say that I sound scary with my waste disposal. So, you just say that you fix things, you go to Sweden, and you work for nightlife. So, you like supply, I don't know, whores for nightclubs and what?
No. First of all, I write software. You missed that part. That is important, actually. And secondly, we develop a solution for people to organize visiting of nightclubs. So guests can actually skip the line using our product, and business owners, they can easily check in people, and they can see some stats, and they can put tickets on sale, and they can do some bidding on tickets that are leftovers for a cool party, and so on and so forth. So this is absolutely legal business. No, I don't know, human trafficking involved there, so everyone should chill.
Boring.
Yeah. So and and I think people now have a pretty accurate picture of what we're doing. So what are we gonna talk about? Because this is not normally how it works in this podcast, right? We have a topic and we talk about that. What are we gonna talk about tonight?
Well, there is one topic that, 99% of Russians agree is quite interesting, at least when talking with foreigners. It's Russia.
Russia, exactly.
Pure and simple.
Yes.
Besides, being a Russian and, being global means you consume data from foreign newspapers, and you watch movies, and, Netflix, and you play games, and every now and then Russia actually, is a thing in all that data. A couple of years ago, there was that funny American TV show where they tried to make a summary of a political show on CNN or whatever. I don't remember which channel. So they just cut out everything except the word Russia. And, it turned out to be a pretty long line, because the host was constantly saying Russia, this, Russia, that, Russians, Russia, communism, Russia, Putin, Russia, communism, and so on. So, yeah.
It gives you a pretty accurate picture of what is going on in Russia.
Yeah, so it's rather fun, because a typical, movie that features Russia. It usually looks like that: a snowy landscape, some forest. There is a bear somewhere in the picture.
Yes.
There is some guy with a beard, with a fluffy hat on his
Fur hat.
Yeah, well, it's not always actually fur, but it's
Okay.
always fluffy.
Okay.
And he's drunk. He is either drinking vodka or he's opening some kind of tank and drinking some green liquid from out there. And then there is a boom, and a nuclear silo goes off, and then I don't know what not happens.
Yeah, nuclear silo in a church. This is important. Always in a church.
Yeah, and then the KGB comes and they kill everyone, including the bear, because, well, leave no witnesses, and then
Exactly.
they kill each other because,
Leave no witnesses. This is obvious.
Witnesses is a big thing.
Yes.
And then the international community decides to send Americans in, and they go there, and, well, and they always find a pretty girl that suddenly speaks pretty good English.
Without any accent whatsoever.
Yeah, and, well, she wants to marry one of them and go live in America after they actually solve the crisis.
Yeah.
End of the story. So it gets quite boring after, I don't know, the 20th time or the 40th time.
No, it's not boring. I actually disagree, because when you see this kind of movie, because we're talking about movies, right? This is how people portray Russia in movies. When you talk about movies, every time you see a Russian guy, this is actually not a Russian guy. This is a Polish guy pretending to be a Russian guy, or I don't know, Serbian guy.
It could be a Romanian guy, or a Turk, or a Jew, or whatever.
Yeah, whoever the hell is there, which is not Russian, and this person is trying to produce some Russian-sounding whatever, and they fail miserably most of the time. It's like, Seryoja nas предали.
Yeah.
It's like, you can... well, maybe it sounds very Russian if you have no idea what Russian language should sound, but as a Russian, viewer of this movie, you're like, holy Christ, what are they doing there?
Yeah, and the character is always named something like Miroslav Vatkovsky or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't really have that in Russia.
No.
So, we know that it's actually a more common problem, like that movie with Van Damme, it was titled The Quest, where he goes to some strange tournament in Tibet, and he has to compete with a huge number of various nationals, including a Russian who is dressed like, some dancer.
Cossack dancer.
Yeah, something like that. And the biggest and baddest fighter there is a Mongol. So the Mongol is huge, like towering, like, I don't know...
Human mountain.
Yeah, mountain of a man, and, well, he doesn't really look Mongolian, because Mongolians are rather small.
Yeah.
And, well, they look Mongolian, because that guy is played by some Moroccan.
Okay.
Whose idea was to actually make a Moroccan play a Mongolian is completely beyond my comprehension, but, well, this happens.
Yeah, this is
we
brilliant.
Understand this is a big problem because not everyone knows a lot of stuff about distant countries, and not every movie director bothers to actually go and hire some nationals.
Some Mongolians. Yeah,
Mongolians.
Where do you find even Mongolians in the States? I don't know, man. This is just
You'll have to,
tough.
I don't know, to go to Mongolia or whatever. Yeah, we understand that the problem is more or less worldwide, but some things you might just, well, Google these days.
For example, how to properly spell stuff in Russian language.
Yeah,
because sometimes
how to make a distinction between Russian and Bulgarian, because, surprise, different languages.
Yeah, they look very similar, though, because I'm passing by quite often the Bulgarian embassy in Stockholm, and it says the Embassy of Republic of Bulgaria and whatever, and it is written in Bulgarian, and it is written in Cyrillic. And guess what? It's extremely similar to how it sounds in Russian. So, yeah, of course, if you're a Russian or if you're Bulgarian, you immediately know the difference, but still. So Bulgaria is not really a super good example, but yeah, I agree. Bulgarian is actually different. Yeah.
Yeah, so we made a list of bullet points to what in our
myths.
experience, me personally and Aurelian personally, what misconceptions and questions we usually encounter in Westerners.
Yeah.
And the first and foremost is probably the general climate and landscape, including the cities.
No, first is vodka, but let's go with climate. Yes, I agree.
Well, we're trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle, so no, vodka is second to climate.
Yes.
So, a real-life example. Several years ago, a girl from, a bunch of girls actually, from Denmark, they asked me to send them pics. No, not these pics, I mean pics of where I live.
Okay, that's good to know.
I just sent them some random pics from my smartphone, taken from around my neighborhood.
So from a window, like
No,
imagine
not from a window, just,
Dominion's arm with a phone, like going out of the window and like taking pictures of his neighborhood.
Some pictures I had taken before.
Okay.
Random ones. So they were shocked. They were literally shocked, and they started just bombarding me.
Let me guess. Where is snow?
Well, snow is a more obvious thing, but they were asking, like, look, the sky, it's blue, and there is green grass everywhere, and the people, they're brightly dressed, and they look happy, and they're smiling. Look, and
what the hell?
Yeah, there are so many cars, and look, that's a Japanese car, and that's a German car, and they all, brightly colored, and there are a lot of billboards and a lot of, neon
that
signs.
Looks like a proper country.
Yeah, and there is so much space. There is so much free space, and the street is that the main I don't know avenue of the capital. Yeah. Because it's so wide, and so I was shocked myself. So I started asking them my own set of questions. Why the hell would the sky be not blue and the grass not green? What color? I don't know. The grass.
They expected, from this stuff.
So after my questions, I actually was able to make a picture of what image they
have in their minds.
So it was like this: sky just covered with lead thick clouds, and there is a city that looks like a maze of grayish tenements, and the streets are filled with crowds of people in drab, gray clothing, and they all have shaved heads, and they all have fluffy hats, and they are just silently moving in huge mobs like zombies, and they pass through huge plazas and crossroads, and in the center of each of them is a towering monument to the current dictator.
Glorious leader.
Yes, aka Glorious Leader. And there are tanks on the four corners of it, and there are armed soldiers, and stuff like that. So
dogs are barking, the guards are here and there.
Barbed wire, and there are loudspeakers saying something like, effective today, all apples are illegal to have and eat in Russia. Glory to the leader, and So that's quite a dystopian image, actually, and personally, I can't even understand how they combined that with me being online and playing WoW and having quite a broad horizon of knowledge about the world. So.
You're just this kind of a guy who is hiding from the police and KGB or whatever, and trying to listen to Western radio, connect to Western internet from underground internet point or whatever. Yeah,
and
this is
I
quite
have
funny.
a poster of the original Terminator on my wall, and it's my most prized possession because I managed to barter it for 5 bottles of vodka from a tourist who was just passing by.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as you can clearly see now, this image has nothing to do with the reality.
Yeah, and if you think this guy is joking, believe me, he is not, because I have friends that went last year to this football championship Russia was hosting, and four people. It was like 3 guys and a girl. All of them were genuinely surprised to see that Russia is not looking like they thought it's gonna look like. They were like, oh my god, it's so amazing, it's so mind-blowing. People are actually smiling in the streets. Like everything is working, and there is everyone is so friendly, and
no one is arrested and sent to Siberia on a daily basis.
Promptly shot, alternatively.
There are no airships barraging.
So it's people were extremely surprised, and those were Americans. We were having beers, and after that, another friend of mine, he told me, I have never seen you that happy as when Americans were telling you that they liked your country. They went there.
Well,
because my face was, at that moment, my face was probably just melting in a smile, oh my god, that's so cool to hear. So yeah, it's unfortunately that is the thing that is very real. People think that Russia looks one way, and Russia is actually completely different and works very differently.
To explain it in more detail, well, the climate. Everyone seems to think that we have some constant, never-ending winter in here with a lot of snow, and it's always cold.
And it's always dark. It's always dark.
It's always dark. There is no. The sun is virtually non-existent.
So we are, for some reason, the whole Russia is above the polar circle, and this is a very weird polar circle because the sun actually never comes above the horizon there. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem is that Russia is big. No, I mean big.
Russia is the largest country in the world, my friends. If you did not know that before, now you know.
Some don't. Some say no, it's Canada.
No, it's not.
That's things like these. They always prompt me to push that red button. But for the time being, I've been able to withhold my impulses. So Russia is
Canada,
big. Mm-hmm. There are parts of it that are frozen most of the time.
We even have this cool thing called permafrost.
Yeah, permafrost, actually, because, a lot of Russia is actually beyond the polar circle, and the climate is, polar.
We actually have some problems with that because thanks to global warming that is non-existent according to some people in some countries, we actually have this permafrost melting now, and a lot of roads, they were built above the permafrost. So now it's getting a little bit harder to, get to places beyond the polar circle just because of this. Yeah.
Think positive. There is a lot of oil and gas under that permafrost.
That is very good, comrade.
Yes, and it's getting a little easier to get to, so, that's a blessing in disguise, actually. But Russia is not all beyond the polar circle. Mm-hmm. Most of Russia is just, moderate continental climate. Yes, the winter might be cold a bit, like, I don't know, -20 in January, but the rest of the year is pretty normal. We have spring, we have summer, we have autumn, and in summer it's often very hot, like +30 in Moscow, while Moscow is, the epitome of moderate climate here. There are southern cities and regions, like the city of that as Stalingrad. It's now officially called Volgograd. In summer, it's very hot. It's hot to the point of asphalt melting, and that's actually a problem there because the roads are terrible in that city.
And here comes the brand new asphalt with some tires.
Some rubber, yes, some rubber from recycled tires, yes. And, I hope to remedy that problem.
Yeah, so the last time I had this conversation with Domnin, it was over beers, and he spent half an hour, I'm kidding you not, half an hour explaining me how exactly this process works. And it's actually quite cool, yeah. But let's don't talk about that in detail here.
Yeah, let's not bring that into discussion. And then if you go even southernmost, strange language. So,
yes, to the southern peak, southern point of Russia.
Yeah, we have actually subtropical climate that is more or less Californian. You can go to, like, the city of Sochi, or to Crimea.
That was actually a very relief. Like, I was relieved to hear, because I was about to hear, like, you can go to the city of Tbilisi. I was like, oh my god.
Well, you actually can go to the city of Tbilisi, but it's technically not Russia anymore.
Exactly.
But you can go there, and a lot of people from Russia do go there.
Yeah.
It's quite subtropical. There are beaches, there are people sunbathing, a lot of resorts, and then you can go to the east. You can find the steppes, the original steppes where nomads used to roam with their cattle, and some still do.
Yeah, and where actually Indo-Europeans came originally. From, yes.
You can go to the far east, to the city of Vladivostok, and there it's sort of like in Japan.
But not in Japan. Almost like in Japan.
Almost like in Japan, at least if you count the number of the cars with the strange steering wheels that are on the right.
On the right side. I actually saw one car with this right, steering wheel just today in Stockholm. I never saw it before. And on unrelated topic, it's actually quite popular, as I learned some time ago, among foreigners to take the Trans-Siberian Road from Vladivostok to Moscow.
Yeah.
So they just fly there, or fly to Beijing, or I don't know, some other Chinese city, and then they take a train from either China or Vladivostok, and they just go through all the Russia, drinking vodka with some military guys going on vacation or from vacation.
Taking pictures of people in their underwear smoking outside when it's -20.
Exactly. Yeah, because
drinking
it's actually
tea.
Very hot in the train, because we have oil and gas, right? And we don't need to save it or do whatever. Yeah, this is actually quite funny that you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that I noticed immediately when I moved from Tver. Tver is a city I used to be living. It's between Moscow and St. Petersburg, slightly closer to Moscow than to St. Petersburg. And when I moved from Tver to Sweden, I actually noticed immediately that you can't really go in your underwear in your apartment because it's too cold. In winter at least. Yeah.
That was my exact feeling when I was on a trip several years ago to France, and it was like February, I think, and I woke up. I got out of bed with my usual happy face for the mornings, and I was, oh hell, it's cold in here! And then I had to quickly put on everything I had, because, heating is expensive in Europe.
Heating is expensive, yes.
Oh well, sucks to be them. You mentioned drinking lots of vodka on the train.
Yes.
And currently I actually am drinking vodka.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's...
Somehow I'm not surprised to hear that, though. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah, well, I'm a drinker, actually.
Social drinker. I'm a social drinker.
Yeah, whenever someone drinks, I say, so shall I.
Exactly.
So this vodka is actually, a less than common type.
Okay.
It's a Crimean vodka made from grapes.
Don't mention the war. Have
There
you
is
seen
no
this?
war.
Have
There
you
is
seen
no
this?
war in Crimea. I've been there a lot of times. There is no war.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there is
okay.
vodka.
Okay.
So this vodka is actually sort of like distilled from grapes. So it's more like moonshine than vodka.
Okay.
And that's the point where foreigners, get confused. Because vodka is not in itself a distilled drink. You can't just distill grain spirits and say, oh, that's vodka. Vodka is actually a product of rectification, and then the spirits are filtered through charcoal and then diluted with water. 40% vodka, 60% water.
I like how confidently you're describing the process, because I never knew how exactly it works, and you seem to be
actually-
so knowledgeable about that.
Yeah, well, several years ago I had to take part in a deal of selling vodka from Belarus to India. Hence my knowledge. And yeah, I managed to pocket quite a number of bottles myself.
Okay. Is it Belarusian vodka, like made of potato?
No, it's made of grain, so... No.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so vodka is a thing in Russia. It's rather important. It used to be a currency on its own.
Oh, yeah.
Because, in the 90s, Aurelian, do you know that in Britain they used to say caring, sharing 90s? Because the 90s are apparently some kind of a sweet time for them.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, in Russia the 90s were not a sweet time, and I sincerely wish that you never ever even have to think of anything like that.
Yeah, for those of our listeners who have no idea why the 90s were so bad, let me just mention that the Soviet Union fell apart in the beginning of the 90s, and the country was a little bit of a mess at that moment. So, yeah, it was... People were killing each other in the streets, like gangs and everything.
Yeah.
So,
And, money was so cheap that you could actually cover your walls with cash instead of...
Old banknotes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, instead of wallpapers, because it would be just cheaper.
Yeah, yep.
So vodka was the universal currency.
Yes, that's true. If you need to do something, you just, invite some people, give them a couple of bottles of vodka, and they will do everything.
Yeah, it will work like a charm.
Exactly.
Well, things have improved much since then, so I don't really think that a lot of people could be swayed with vodka, unless they're, these
drunkards,
hobos and drunkards. Yeah, I mean normal people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so vodka is important. Vodka is not as how you say slow drink. What was the word for? Yeah, I think it was slow drink. It's a shot drink. Mostly it's consumed through small glasses in a single shot, and we usually say a toast.
Exactly.
So, Aurelian, what toast we never actually say when drinking?
We never say na zdrowie.
Yes, we never say na zdrowie. It's actually Polish.
Exactly.
In Russian, it's za zdrowie, but we don't really say that either.
Yeah, we do say za wasze zdrowie, as I teach my friends.
For your health.
for your health. So we always drink for health. This is the first toast we have, for health. And then when people are already, agitated a bit and everyone is in a good mood and everyone is like, yeah, let's keep doing this, we actually start toasting for other stuff.
Like the third toast is for the dead.
For the dead? Okay.
Traditionally. Yeah, so there is a saying, so that, let's drink so that we are not mentioned in the third toast too soon.
Okay, I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
Among other things that people are toasting for is for love, for people who are in the sea, for those who are in the sea right now and cannot drink with us, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
for those who are on their way somewhere.
Yep. And all sorts of, like, you can drink for anything. And that is actually quite funny, because whenever I drink with my foreign friends, they don't have this, nobody has this, it seems to be, nobody has this culture of toasting, because I was drinking with German people, French people, Swedish people. Swedish people actually might have this kind of thing, but I didn't drink a lot with them, specifically. Ironically, even though I am in Sweden, I didn't drink a lot with Swedish.
Sounds like a sober people.
Sober people, yeah. Oh, they're actually not very sober. Fun fact, in Sweden there is a state monopoly for selling alcohol. You can do it, you can buy an alcohol, any sort of, like, whatever is stronger than 3.5% of alcohol, only in a state store. Sadly. Yeah, but yeah, back to toasting and vodka. And do we actually drink in that much vodka, Dominion?
Well, actually, vodka is popular, but not that popular, because mostly people drink beer.
Yeah.
And some people drink wine. Some people drink cheap cocktails, like
Jaguar.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I don't think they know Jaguar, because each country seems to have some kind of their own special
energy drink,
mild alcoholic, bad for your heart, peaceful drink.
Yeah, usually it's
Something
like
like
coffee mixed with alcohol, mixed with some other crazy
with
bullshit.
Sugar and with some unmentionable chemicals that make your heart go boom. So
and it smells terrible always.
Yeah. So we drink a lot of vodka, but we also have wine. We have quite a wine production in the country, in the south. We have several sorts of liquor, like honey liquor, pepper liquor, some, grass liquors, something like absinthe, but less poisonous. Yeah, so we actually have quite a large range of alcoholic drinks, and it's not always vodka, it's not only vodka. And please, don't call that strange concoction that they sometimes mention to me, like, oh, do you have cherry vodka? What do you mean cherry vodka? Vodka is vodka, it can be cherry.
There is no cherry vodka, there is only one kind of vodka.
Can be, I don't know, there can be some kind of concoction with actual berries stored in vodka. If I remember correctly, we used to make it at your dacha.
Maybe.
It was red.
I think
red
it was.
It was red berry, and some kind of ethanol.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. But that was homemade stuff. It was actually quite good.
So vodka is clear spirits, 40% spirits, 60% water.
Yes,
there is no cherry in it.
I can explain where cherry comes from. So it comes from Finland, because those guys have a very nice brand of vodka called Finlandia, and apart from normal vodka, which is like usual vodka without anything, they actually have a bunch of weird stuff like vodka with orange, vodka with lingonberry, vodka with whatever else berry, and you're like, I myself, I can drink it, but I will not enjoy it a lot. I'm not a big vodka drinker anyway, so, but a lot of people, they just go nuts when they see it. They're like, this is not what, exactly like you, Dominic, actually. I have a friend who can just, like, go crazy, like, yeah, this is not vodka, this is bullshit. So, yeah, that's a huge problem. They sell that stuff in the country, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, well, drinking used to be a huge problem. Now it's less huge because partly the
drunkards died.
Yeah, well,
during the 90s.
Yes, they just all took up and died. So then again, the government took huge effort to counter the threat. For example, when I was a kid, I could buy whatever I wanted at most shops. I don't know, when I was 12, I used to buy beer. When I was 14, I used to buy wine and vodka. Yeah, nobody gave any amount of shits. And these days, like earlier today, I went to a restaurant with a friend. The friend is actually 10 years my younger. And we both ordered some drinks, and
they asked the passport.
Well, she just showed her ID because, well, she's rather young, so they could easily think she was not 21.
Yeah.
And then, me being 10 years older, I was also asked to provide some sort of ID.
Looking sharp, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
and I had to do it because the law is rather strict these days, so you can't just buy everything. Then, you can't buy alcohol at night because, you know, a lot of crimes happen like that.
What a nasty surprise.
Yeah, well, people are drinking, they are drunk like hell, but, you know, when you're drunk, you always think, looking good, we need another one.
Yes.
And you go and get another one, and on the way back you
bump
into another guy, and you pick a fight, and someone is dead, and you go to Gulag, and whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't buy vodka if it's 11 p.m., and, well...
11 or 10? I think it's
11.
even 10. 11.
No, it's 11.
Okay, so, and there is some rules, I think, even for beers. You can't buy beers during night.
You can't buy any alcohol, beer, or cocktail, or whatever. No alcohol whatsoever.
Yeah, and what is the age of when you can start drinking?
It's 18 for beer, it's 21 for liquor.
Huh, wow. This is actually quite impressive because if you compare Sweden, as I already said, we have this state monopoly for selling stuff, and they always check your ID if you look young. So I myself being checked all the freaking time, I don't know why. I have a beard. And in Sweden, the way it works, you can buy alcohol in a bar when you're 18. And you can buy alcohol when you're on your own, not in a bar or somewhere, when you're 20. So, like, in Russia, it's even, like, stricter.
Yeah, it's even stricter.
In a way,
because, the situation was catastrophic. So now it's much, much better, in part thanks to government's efforts, and in part thanks to, you know, the general ease of life. Because when you're doing not that bad, well, you don't really have anything to drown in a glass of vodka.
Which is actually normally a very bad idea because alcohol is a huge, and especially vodka, it's very potent depressant. So you might feel better when you start drinking, but you will feel even worse when you're already drunk. Yeah, so it's generally a very bad idea if you have any sort of problems to try to drown them in the booze. Yeah, because you will feel even worse in the end.
The good idea is to go and solve problems, not drink.
Yeah,
That's exactly the Russian way.
Yeah, we just solve problems. Exactly, comrade.
Yeah. So
let's go to some other topic because I think we spent too much time in vodka and
vodka is vodka.
Yeah, exactly.
Vodka is eternal. So
what's else on the list?
Our traditional clothing, because a typical Russian should always have a huge, fluffy, furry hat.
Yes, yes.
And some sort of paramilitary uniform.
Or fur coat.
Yeah, or a fur coat and boots. And, well, that about does it, so...
Yes, and maybe Kalashnikov in one of hands, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Kalashnikov
Optionally.
also. So, do you even have a fur hat?
I was about to hear, do you even have Kalashnikov? No, I don't have any Kalashnikov, and I don't have a fur hat, sadly.
Well, I do have a fur hat, but it's, fur, it contracts a little when it's wet, so I think that it's a little too small for my size now.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
really think I'm going to buy a new fur hat because, I'm just sticking to wool caps.
Yeah,
Knitted caps.
Fur hats are quite expensive, actually.
Yeah,
if this
they're
is a proper fur
expensive.
hat.
And I used to have a fur coat to do with the yeah.
Is it the one that you bought somewhere and it ended up being a female fur coat? No?
Yeah, well, it ended up being a female fur coat, and I had to go and hand it back in, and I bought a proper
one.
masculine,
Yeah, manly fur coat.
manly fur coat, totally manly one. Yeah,
Yeah.
but well, times pass. I'm way too broad in my shoulders now for this fur coat, and so goes the fur hat. Now
Okay.
I mostly wear either overcoats, or if it's really cold, I wear a parka.
Whatever the hell it is.
Parka, it's the thing we call pуховик.
Ah, okay. It's called parka in English?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, in
I
America
didn't
it's
know
called
that.
parka.
All right, all right.
It's Alaskan, I think.
Yeah, that's a popular choice. Yeah. Anyone going in coats, like proper?
Yeah, people wear overcoats, people wear, well, short coats, people wear various leather garments.
Yeah, but we're talking about winter clothes right now. It's not like summer clothes, because summer clothes is obviously like a shirt, a t-shirt. I don't know, some go
Shorts, jeans, sandals, bridges, you name it. And yes, well, tracksuit is still a thing, but it's not always an Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah, tracksuits, like, for some reason, people outside of Russia think that, this is a very Slavic thing to have a tracksuit, which should
It's
be
practical.
Adidas. Yes, and you sit there, like squatting, having this, sunflower seeds, having a cap, and you just sit there and eat these sunflower seeds.
And you have a beer, yeah.
Yeah, and you have a beer, and this is like how they typically see probably like a lot of people in the country. This is a typical picture of so-called gopnik.
Yeah, it's, it's like chav just in Russia.
Yeah, Russian chav.
So, sunflower seeds used to be a typical, peasant
Snack.
treat. Yeah,
Yes.
peasant snack. So it's considered rather redneck in modern days, and, well, at least in Moscow, I don't know, it's been 3 years since I actually saw someone eating sunflower seeds in the street, so people actually buy them at supermarkets, but they tend to consume it at home, and that's a good thing.
Let's step back for a second and explain something about Moscow and the rest of Russia. Usually the way I explain it to people is that Moscow and Russia are two different countries, because Moscow is a really, really, really huge city. Now it has, like, correct me if I'm wrong, more than 15 million people living.
Yes, you're correct.
Yes, and some countries, for example, if you combine, I don't know, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, probably this is gonna be the same amount of people living in just one city in Moscow. And the thing is that Moscow is very different from the rest of the country in terms of money and in terms of how things work. Everything is working. There is good public transportation. Everything is clean. And there are a lot of new buildings being built everywhere. So you can feel like stuff is happening there. Rest of Russia does not look that. Of course, it's like it's okayish. The rest of the country is okayish, but it does not look as good as Moscow does.
As posh, I'd say.
Yeah, as posh. Yes, thank you. So when Domnin is talking about stuff, he is usually talking about Moscow perspective on things, and because he lives there. And I myself, as I mentioned before, I am not from Moscow initially, and some of the things that he says sound a little bit strange or alien for me, just because in my home city, that was not working that well, or it was like completely different. Yeah, so
or it was non-existent.
or it was non-existent, like underground, the underground.
Yeah. You remember that time when I was a kid and I just arrived to Tver for the first time, and I was like, "So, where's the subway?" And you were like, "What subway?"
What subway? What is subway? We have a tram here. Is it good enough for you as a subway? Oh, by the way, we don't have a tram anymore.
Yeah, so well,
They actually
sold for scrap.
Yeah, they actually removed it from the city recently. The last time I went there, the taxi driver was like telling me the whole story behind it. Yeah, they just like, we don't have trams anymore. We have trolley buses and like taxi cars.
And remember that time when we're going back from the nightclub in Tver, and I was thinking, oh hell, now I'm terribly drunk and sleepy, and I will have to endure a whole hour in a car before we get to the apartment. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, poof, and we've crossed a bridge, and we're home. And
Exactly.
I was like, look, it's like, in Grand Theft Auto. The city is just, like the map there. As big.
The city is tiny. Well, compared to Moscow, Tver is tiny.
Well,
And,
Moscow,
yeah.
if you want an image of Moscow, you can take Just Cause 2. Well, Just Cause 2 is equal to Moscow in map size.
Okay, and for a German girl who is my friend and she has no idea what Just Cause 2 is, do you have a better explanation of the size of Moscow?
I don't know, Skyrim.
Okay,
Probably.
so
Skyrim's probably smaller.
Okay, imagine this. So you have an underground line, a subway line, that goes from north to the south of the city, and it takes more than an hour just to go from the very north of this line to the very south, and the stops are actually much longer compared to Stockholm. Like, in Stockholm, compared to Moscow, stops are super close to each other. Sometimes it's 500, I don't know, less than kilometer between two stops. In Moscow, it is 4 or 5 times longer. So it's a really, really, really huge city. And it's just a best explanation I can come to. If you want to cross it, like from I don't know, on foot or something, it will probably take like, I don't know, 10 hours or something.
Yeah,
to walk.
A big city. Though,
it's a big city.
When Chinese students would come and I would give them a tour for the city, then they would always say, "Oh, well, we heard that Moscow was a big city. It's rather smallish.
It's very compact, and there is not a lot of people everywhere." This is often you hear this often from Chinese people.
Perspective.
Like, oh, I like it. You can actually walk here. Not a lot of people, and you can be in the busiest street in rush hour in your city.
And
I don't know, in
nobody just
Stockholm.
pushes you on the ground.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I like it here. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I actually had this conversation with a Chinese guy some time ago. Yeah.
So the Chinese are they are good in another perspective. They don't see us as being grim and non-smiling.
Really?
Yeah, because Westerners sometimes say that we're always grim, we don't smile, we're looking almost angry to them, and they feel uneasy in Moscow. So, there is a thing, because a social smile which is typical for Americans, is not really a thing.
You mean a fake smile?
Yeah, well, I was trying to put it mildly.
A fake smile. We are Russians. We shouldn't put it mildly.
Yeah,
we just say
should be
they're fake
straightforward.
smiling to people, right?
Yeah, fake smiling is not a thing in Russia, and normally for Russian is fake smiling. It's it's as obvious as a nuclear blast.
Yeah. So if person is smiling on you, the person is actually liking you in our country.
Yeah. So if you laugh, this means that you hear something funny. Or you're happy. If you're smiling, then, well, something good is happening, or you've met a nice person.
Or you're drunk. That's also an option.
Or you're drunk. So if you're not smiling, this means, well, nothing is happening. Nothing bad, nothing good. So
it's just normal. It's like how do you greet each other in different languages? If you greet each other in English or I don't know, Swedish or whatever, like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you? In Russia, it's like, how are you doing? I'm normal. You?
Yeah.
Normal.
Could be worse.
Yeah, normal. So it's like нормально. This is what we say in Russia. If you say good in Russian, it's like, yeah, I'm good. Like,
then
what?
They'll ask you, what's so good?
What happened, man?
Yeah.
Did you win the lottery, or I don't know?
Did you get a new job, or what's
rich
so
relative
good,
died?
Actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if nothing is really good, then it's normal.
It's
in
normal.
Russia.
It's normal.
Then again, we have proverbs that are actually against
Okay.
unmotivated laughter.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we say смех без причины признак дурачины.
Which means laughter without a reason. It means you're an idiot.
Yeah, well, it marks an idiot, I'd say.
Exactly.
So, yeah, a person who is laughing without any reason would receive some stern looks, or, well, surprised looks in a public place in Russia.
Yeah.
Though in Moscow, people are more, I can't say tolerant, I say indifferent, because, you know, when you have 15 million people around you every day, you can just pay attention to every idiot that is in your way, because that would take half the day of your time. And mostly, people just ignore everything that is around.
There is another reason Moscow is more progressive in this sense, because all the foreigners come to Moscow, and you as a person who lives in Moscow the whole your life, you see these foreigners often, and you're more used to this kind of behavior, and this is more normal to you.
Then again, it depends on the district, because where I live, there are a lot of universities, and this means a lot of foreign students. And once I was going back from work, taking a bus, and I heard some ruckus, and it turned out to be some African guy who was lordly drunk, and, well, very sociable because of that condition.
Picked up some Russian stuff there, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was trying to talk to everyone, and he was talking in English. So, a lot of
nobody could understand him.
Yeah, a lot of people would not understand him or pretend not to understand him. So I had to intervene because I didn't want him to get himself killed.
Yeah.
So I dragged him to the bus corner and, had a little small talk with him in English. And when I was at my stop, I said, "Hey, it's our stop," and I took him out of the bus, waved goodbye, and went home. I have literally no idea where actually he was going, so, I hope he got there.
Do I get it right? Do I get it correctly that you basically took the guy off the bus on your stop, and then you just left him hanging there without any idea where he should be going?
He needed some fresh air, I'm sure.
Oh my god, you're a terrible human being. That is why, Dominion, we have such terrible reputation abroad. And I have to deal with it on everyday basis, like, oh my god, you're Russian, when are you gonna invade Sweden? This is actually a true story. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't.
So there was, imagine this. There is a party, New Year's party, in my friend's place, and we go there, and he invites some other people from his work, and then there is this tipsy, let's put it this way, tipsy Swedish girl who is there, and she is very concerned. And I introduce myself. I talk to people, and at some point I'm talking to her, and I'm introducing myself, and I'm saying like, yeah, I'm obviously from Russia. This is my name. And the first question, she is like super concerned. You can read it in her face. She asks me like, can I ask you a very personal question? And I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, go ahead. What kind of personal question could it be? We know each other like for 5 seconds by now. So, but yeah, still, sure, do it. And she asks me this: do you think Russia will invade Sweden? And I'm like, oh my god, this is so typical. This is like, first of all, how come this is a very personal question? Like, I mean, what is personal here? I have no clue. This is thing number one.
They believe that we're, like some kind of an overmind that
exactly.
That you're just a tendril of.
Yeah, they will give me a heads up mentally somehow.
So yeah, they would say, comrade.
Yeah, the time has come.
Yeah, invasion impending in 2 weeks. So you have to.
No, in 2 hours.
You have to bomb this bridge. You have to kill this politician, and you have to raise the red flag on the town hall. Russia needs you, comrade. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
there was that Greek, that Greek who used to ask me, I'm not sure if you're close to Putin, but maybe you can tell me if Russia is going to sell AA missiles to Turkey. Well, I understand that probably in Greece. In Greece, you can just dial a random Greek number. And whoever picks up the phone, you can just say, hey, get me the premiere, please. And the person will just open the window and say, hey, Prime Minister, could you just come and get it? And the Prime Minister will hear and come. Well, probably it works in Greece like that, but it doesn't in Russia.
Yeah, well, I have bad news for you, but it doesn't work like that in Greece, because Greece is a fairly large country.
Oh, well. All the more point to be.
Yeah, but still. Okay, so we got off topic somehow. I don't know how, like, what were we talking about?
Let's get to, calling people names.
Calling people names. Oh, I love this part.
So, the sad, or, I don't know, bright reality, whatever, is that in Russia, the names are roughly divided into 3 groups.
Okay.
First ones are Slavic names.
Okay.
Names like Rostislav. I'm just meaning something more common, Like Rostislav.
Yaroslav. Vladislav.
Vladislav. Yeah.
Vladimir. Vladimir
or Vladislav. And no, Vladimir cannot be shortened to Vlad. It doesn't work like that. Vladislav is Vlad. Vladimir is not Vlad.
It's Vova.
Yeah, well, it's enough that you know it's not Vlad.
Yeah.
The second group are Greek names, like Cyril or Kirill in Russian. Or
speaking of stuff, how do you introduce yourself to foreigners? Are you Cyril?
Well, sometimes I tried saying Cyril, but it works well when I'm toe-to-toe with someone.
Okay.
It doesn't work that well when I'm on the internet, because some white people think that Cyril is some kind of a girl's name, like, I don't know, Mirabelle, or I don't know, Sibyl, or something like that.
Yeah, and I guess that it's more obvious for a native English speaker that Cyril is actually a boy's name. Because for me personally, I have to confess, Cyril, the only context in which I understand the name Cyril is Cyril Figgis from The Archer. I'm sorry, I just have this association in my mind. This is the only Cyril that I know.
Yeah, well. So, and the third group are Christian names, which means Jewish names.
Jewish names. What happened to the Latin names? Where Maxim is?
let's just say that Greek and Roman names are one entity.
So,
Maxim.
You see, guys. You see, like, yeah, we have these very significant Greek names, which my name is actually from this group,
and some teensy bunch of Roman names, which are
very insignificant. Like, and this Aurelian guy is actually
we actually have the name Roman.
Roman.
Yeah, Roman. Then we have my son's name, Lavrenti, or Lawrence, I guess, in
Lawrence,
English.
of Arabia.
Yeah, well, it's a Roman name also in origin.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there go Jewish names, like
Mary.
Ivan. You might be surprised, but Ivan, it's actually a Jewish name.
Like John, or Yuan.
Or Juan.
Juan.
Or Giovanni, or whatever.
Yes.
So, then there go names like...
Maria.
Yeah, Maria is actually a very common name. Joseph used to be, but, Joseph Stalin and whatnot, then it actually exists in Russia, but it's considered to be an ethnic Jewish name.
Yeah, it's not super popular. I don't know any Josephs of our age, more or less.
Yeah, well, I know a couple of Solomons, but I don't know any Josephs.
Okay.
Then my father's name is Peter.
Yep.
Yeah,
but this is Greek.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it on you, but this is Greek. It means stone.
Yeah. It's just that Jesus. Well, he got me confused by saying that Peter is a stone.
Yeah. On my line of work, we actually, not me personally, but my colleagues, they're talking to a guy whose name is Jesus, which is like Spanish version of Jesus. Yeah, it's just funny. Like Jesus, they're talking like Jesus. Like, are you guys get religious here or what is going on? Yeah.
You saw there was swearing. Mm-hmm. So that's with the personal names. Not everyone is called Boris.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate for a lot of people, because Boris is super easy to pronounce, and when there is like Vladimir, how do you even say that?
No, not everyone is Yuri. Then.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
of
also
course,
true.
There are a lot of Ivans. Yeah, I know, like 10 Ivans, I think. But not everyone is an Ivan. And not every woman is a Natasha, because Natasha is not even a full name. It's Natalia or Natalia.
Natalie.
Natasha is just, a short form. Same as Vanya, Borya, and whatever names that you think are full ones.
Yeah, and at the same time, this is actually, Natasha is a proper American name for a girl, let's say, I don't know, British, or you name it. It's borrowed pretty much from Russian, and this version, like Sasha. Yeah.
Actually, Alexander is a very typical name for both males and females.
Yep.
Alexandra.
Yep.
Quite popular ones. And Anastasia is not actually Anastasia, it's Anastasia.
Anastasia.
Anastasia is, the thing that the doctor gives you when you receive a shot for your toothache. And the name is Anastasia.
I have flashbacks from this, 50 Shades of Grey, whatever stuff with that Anastasia over there. Let's not talk about that.
Okay, let's not talk about that. So these are names, but there are of course last names. Last names in Russia commonly end with ov or yov. Sometimes it's ski, really. So a typical Russian family name is Borisov, or Ivanov, or Dmitriev, or
In is also a valid Russian ending, like Nikitin,
or Topornin, or I don't know, Kuznetsov.
I think it's, by now it's quite obvious. So, and if it's a girl's name, it's always ending on A. So it's Kuznetsova, Nikitina, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
we actually have different versions of this. Different versions of this ending in the last name, and this is quite funny how they handle this when people immigrate to the U.S., for example, or outside of Russia. So normally kids, when they take the family of their parent, they take the family of the male version of the last name, even if it's a girl. So it can be easily like something Sverdlov.
Yeah,
like
but
Maria Sverdlov.
that never works with all these Western movies. So you can see that someone is called Boris Ivanova, which is not a thing. It could
Doesn't
be
work.
Natalia Ivanova, but Boris is Ivanova. Simple.
Yeah, it's like Natasha Romanov, right?
Yeah, Natasha is not Romanov, she's Romanova.
Yes, but in the Avengers movies, she is Romanov, and she's like, she is very posh because she's been spelled up with double F in the end.
Yeah.
Which
it's-
kinda
it's
usually
not
so
a thing, really.
We need to explain this. This is a way Russian immigrants after the revolution,
The Civil War.
and revolution, they who immigrated from Russia to, let's say, I don't know, France, they were taking this kind of ending for reasons. And if you see somebody with double F, like Yev, Romanov, that is a sign that this is not, this person was born abroad.
It's a long-time immigrant, it's a second
Yes.
generation immigrant.
or third
worse.
immigrant. Yeah, so it's not even like a person from Russia immediately
Yeah,
from.
it's just a person of Russian origin.
Yes.
So, then there go these ski family names.
Ski?
Yeah,
Ski family name?
yeah, like Petrovsky,
Oh, yeah,
Ivanovsky.
yeah.
Your cousin used to be Ivanovskaya.
Yes, which is the
Because-
female version of this. Yeah,
Ivanovsky.
This is of Polish origin.
Well, Polish, yes, West Russian, it's debatable.
Yeah.
It's typical for Russian Jews.
Yes.
Yeah, and then go some other families typical for West Russians and Jews that end with Vich. Or each. So, family names like Rudkevich, Sobakevich,
Yeah.
or Sakharovich.
Sakharovich. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. These are traditionally believed to be either Belarusian or Jewish. Well,
Yeah,
Jewish,
yeah.
more likely.
So we need to explain Jewish part here is in Russian Empire there was
A lot of Jews.
There was a lot of Jews, obviously, and at some point Russian Empire included both Ukraine, Belarus, and not even both, like
And a lot of Poland.
a lot of
Including
like,
Warsaw, because, Poland was a point of interest for Jews since the Middle Ages.
yeah. So Russian Empire had a bunch of Jewish population, and these people were limited in a way where they
choosing their place to live.
Yeah, exactly. So they couldn't live anywhere. They could live just in a very distinct parts of the empire. So
Southwestern part.
yes, so
correct.
which is basically modern Ukraine, Belarus, and Poland, and that is why the majority of those people tend to have Ukrainian, Belarusian, or Polish last names.
last names. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that works like that. Or sometimes they just have German last names, but that's not what
Yeah.
we're talking.
Yes.
Then again, my own family name is, one of the less common. It's a very regional Belarusian family name with an ending in ok. There are some others that end in ok, but mine is Burinok. Then there are names like Pachinok or others. That's a rather rare breed, so I wouldn't recommend it as a family name for a character in your book or whatever you might be.
In your whatever. Yeah.
In your whatever, yeah. What
Yes.
people do not understand, mostly, is that we also have patronymics.
Yeah, that's a thing, actually.
That's a thing, yes. We have patronymics just, like Arabs. If
or
an Arab-
patronymics, I think,
Patronymics, yeah.
is the name
Patronymics
of this thing.
possible. Yeah, it's similar to Arabs. Yeah, if someone is called Ahmad ibn Mahmud, this means that his name is Ahmad, but his father is Mahmud. Well, in Russian, you just take your father's name and, you just give it an Ovich ending. So
If you're a male.
If you're a male, yeah, so this Ahmad would be Ahmad Mahmudovich in Russian, or Ovna if you're a female, so it would be, I don't know, Fatima Mahmudovna. Yeah,
but there are some other variations like Ilyich.
But they're less common with the name of Ilya,
common.
which is just Russian sort of Eli, another Jewish name that is quite common.
Yeah, and I just double checked. You can say both. You can say patronym and you can say patronymic.
Oh,
so I'm
great.
just used to patronymic. Yeah.
Good. So this is the problem with the most fiction that includes Russian characters. They either never understand that the patronymic is in place, or they think that the patronymic is just a second name, or they think that the patronymic is actually a family name, which is, wrong. You know, this terrorist, Carlos the Jackal.
Okay.
His first name is Ilyich.
Yeah, which is patronymic.
Yeah, it's a patronymic in Russian, which means just son of Eli. This is because his father was a pronounced communist, but he was not very, fluent in Russian, obviously. So he named his three sons Vladimir, Ilyich, and Lenny. He thought that Ilyich is just a second name, like, I don't know, some Juan Garcia Mendoza.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work like that. So
it's not. Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes a Russian character in a book is named Vladimir Petrovich. Petrovich what? This demands a last name.
Yeah, and you even pronounce it wrong. It's like Vladimir Petrovich.
Or sometimes Petrovic.
Petrovic.
It's Petrovich, not Petrovic.
No, the Petrovic problem is usually with the Serbian names, because they have this diacritic sign in the end, and it's like each, and...
actually, Niko Bellic is Niko Belic, with one L and Ch in there. So, then again, it's something like... Petrovich Ivansky Vladimir, because, the author clearly doesn't know jack about our names, and he just, he thinks there must be something with Vich, something with Ski, and some Slavic name like Borislav. Yes. So this is probably alright.
Let's mix it together and it's gonna work.
It's gonna work, yeah. And everyone will see that this is obviously a Russian, and I don't give a damn about, what actual Russians are.
Yeah.
Don't do that, please, because, global world, you're not Daniel Defoe, who had an excuse of not knowing jack about Russia, because,
Yeah, and 200 million people speaking Russian will mock you after that.
Yeah, mock you is, the good...
Understatement.
The good understatement, yeah, because they maybe mob you, not mock you.
Oh, no. We are very peaceful. We don't mob people.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, since
we're trying to fix some stuff here in this podcast, don't we? Come on, pull your shit together, man.
Positive image, yeah, peaceful nation, this kind of bullshit. I mean, these kind of facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to, I don't know, introduce a Russian character into your book or whatever, just spend like 15 minutes on reading Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah, it's super easy, and it's rather detailed, and it's not that complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last but not least, last time I was to Paris. A waitress at a restaurant, which was, an American cuisine restaurant with all these nachos and fries and hamburgers. So I just bump into it.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you because that was quite funny. You probably already can hear that he speaks, first of all, he speaks with more Russian accent, and now he even drops the articles in front of the words. Like waitress, not a waitress, like waitress, right? Like very Russian thing. That is because he is already quite tipsy over there, over the vodka he used to have, and now he doesn't have it anymore in his glass.
I'm not gonna bother answering these accusations.
Yes, please continue your story. Yeah.
Let me finish the drink. So,
I can neither confirm or deny the absence of vodka in my glass.
So, and this waitress, she asks me, obviously, seeing that I'm not a Parisian or French, she asks me where
are you from, boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after getting a reply, she's like, no way, your English is too good for that. Because, well, she obviously believed me to talk like that, I don't know. You think you strong. You're not so strong. I kill you with one hand. And that's a quotation from Batman Arkham City, if I remember it correctly.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, there is a problem of people of different nationalities being portrayed with speaking a heavy accent in movies, because, well, that's just a way to explain who and where from that person is.
Yeah, that this is part of the background of the person. Like, you easily see, like, oh, this is a Russian guy, or, I don't know, whichever guy, and you already know what to expect from this person.
Yeah. Yeah, but still, this gives the wrong impression that every foreigner should speak English or whatever language with a very heavy accent, with, I don't know, a French accent.
That's true.
Or Spanish accent, or Arabic accent. Well, sometimes this is correct, because I used to work with a Colombian woman living in Finland who had a very thick Colombian accent.
Is it like a district of Colombia or Colombia?
No,
Colombia?
It's the bad, yeah, the cocaine Colombia.
Okay.
So, yeah, she had such a thick accent that I half expected her to switch to something like, a little bit of coke money no hurt nobody, comprende, compañero. Yeah, well, this sometimes is a thing, but it's rather, well, silly to expect everyone to speak with heavy accents. Still, in Russia, you're more likely to, well, hear a heavy accent than lack of it, due to certain problems with English teaching in the country.
Oh, yeah, we have ridiculously bad teaching of English, yes.
Yeah, since I am a teacher of English, well, used to be...
You're part of the problem, right?
No,
or
I'm
are you part of the solution?
I am the solution.
Okay.
So, I used to be a school kid, just like Aurelian, and just like him, I had English at school. So, Aurelian...
In a posh Moscow school.
Yeah, it was a very posh school that boasted English classes and whatever regalia from some kind of a contest nobody had ever heard of. So, what English teaching in Russia traditionally looks like? Imagine that you are at a class of ancient Egyptian. At a class where you have, a picture of a fresco in some kind of a pyramid or a tomb.
There is a pharaoh.
Temple, yeah, there are, the gods, there's Anubis and the pharaohs, and there is the land of the dead, and you have to translate these hieroglyphs, and you are trying to make sense, to make heads or tails of all this, whatever this means. Is it everyone who reads this text is blessed, or everyone who reads this text will die a horrible death?
Valar Morghulis, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, this is what your typical English class at a Russian school used to look like. It's a bit better, at least from what I hear from my son, who's a teenager and, well, boiling in that same pot. But still the problem is fundamental. The teachers. The teachers have no idea of English. I mean,
No idea
they
what
have...
they're teaching.
Yeah, they have, a good idea of the textbooks. They have a very good idea of the curriculum, but, that's not language. What they're giving to you is, like I said, ancient Egyptian. It's like a dead language that you're studying not to talk ancient Egyptian, but to make sense of some strange texts about things that you are never gonna see in real life. About, I don't know, the land of the dead, about Niles and canals and pyramids and pharaohs.
Yeah, so best case scenario, you should be able to read a street sign, like where is the hotel or something like that, when you go to Turkey or Thailand or you name it.
Yeah, and you'll be able to say, "Hey, 2 beer." And, well...
That's the most important knowledge. You don't even need to speak a foreign language for that. You can just, sign language what you want.
Well, some Russian tourists, they believe you don't need even that. They think that if you yell loud enough, then everyone
will understand you.
Eventually understand the basics.
Which is probably true, because it's not that hard to understand what a half-drunk Russian tourists really want to have in a bar.
Yeah, probably it's
probably
vodka
like
or
more
beer.
of booze. Yeah.
So yeah, you try booze. If booze doesn't work, try a whore. That should do the trick.
Oh my god.
Yeah, free advice.
Jesus Christ. All right.
You don't even believe in Christ.
Let's go back to school teachers.
Back to school teachers. So my English was terrible at school, and my parents had to hire me a tutor who was, she had the benefit of actual experience abroad.
Okay.
She spent a lot of years abroad, and that was not an easy thing back in the USSR.
Saying abroad. Which exactly abroad? Do you mean like Bulgaria or
no? It was not Bulgaria.
Czech Republic,
China,
for
example. Yeah,
good English speakers there. Yeah, that's true.
Not really. It was Britain.
Like Britain, like Great Britain.
Britain,
not like
yes, like
Brittany in
no,
France.
Not Britain.
Okay.
Actually, Britain. Yeah, she had a very distinct Cambridge accent.
Very distinct Cambridge accent.
Cambridge accent,
mate.
Something like that.
Let's go to the pub, mate. Yeah,
no,
this is not Cambridge
that
accent.
One. I know,
Yeah.
you know, this block cut, this kind of accent.
All right.
Yeah, so in a year and so, she just set my English straight, and then I just used my own means to study English, because my dad, he bought me a PC and several games that included a lot of, texts, but were all in English.
And a lot of violence, and that is why you're so violent now.
Yeah, well, but still I had to play them with a dictionary at my hand, but it did miracles to my, language. And then at senior school, I was, speaking such a good English that most teachers just refrained from me, and they just said,
Who is this genius?
Yeah, you get an A+, so you get the hell out of here. They just didn't want me to ask a question like, by the way, do you think I spelled that word correctly?
Well, just to double check.
Yeah, and they would just say, yeah, of course, or whatever. Get the fuck out. So...
Yeah, but okay, our listeners need to know this part of things about you. You have a very good memory, so you're just like remembering shit that normal people don't remember usually.
Yeah, like when someone says go buy bread, I go buy beer, and then I have really no idea.
Yeah, so you remember very unimportant things, and important things you don't remember at all. That's true. And the reason I'm saying that is because I just a fun story popped up in my mind 2 weeks ago, like about your memory and your language skills. Because, as you said, we are a little bit unusual kind of Russians who actually can speak English, more or less. And in addition to English, we speak some other languages. And I speak Swedish, and you speak Arabic, obviously. He speaks Arabic, and the reason I know that you still speak Arabic is because 2 weeks ago I went in a house outside of Stockholm with my friends, and there were 8 of us, and that was a very cool house with jacuzzi and sauna and like all sorts of whatever that is there. So we had great time there, like best idea ever. And at some point, when there are like 8 people, and all of these people are of different nationalities, it inevitably ends up, the conversation in the dinner inevitably ends up in the, comparing languages, how things work in your language, how do you say that, how do you say that. And then we have a girl who is from Morocco, and she actually speaks Arabic. And at some point, she was like, "Oh, but your nephew that you make a podcast with, he speaks Arabic. Let's call him."
Yeah, and he does just that, and I just flush myself with cold sweat because my Arabic is, rather about translating headlines.
Don't jump there. This is my story. Let me finish it, okay?
So I suffer, and the story is yours. Yeah,
exactly.
I see.
Exactly. So I just sure, let's do it, and I give him a call. And this is already probably 11 p.m. in Russia, and by the way he sounds, I understand that he is tipsy. So I was like, oh my god, this is terrible idea. This is terrible idea. He is drunk. He did not use Arabic for God only knows how many years, because it's not your line of work whatsoever right now. You used to be studying it, and you used to be using it some time ago. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna end terrible. Like it's gonna be a disaster.
This is gonna be so fun. Yeah. That's what you thought, actually.
Well, maybe, but in my story, I will cling to my version right now, and I just put Dominion on speaker, on loudspeaker, and he's cursing me in Russian before that. He's like, I still can do it, and then they have a very nice conversation. Like the girl actually says something, and he actually produces some Arabic back, and she understands him. And this is like a small little conversation. I have no idea what you were talking about anyway.
Well, she asked me how my things were, and I told her I was fine, and
and to make things worse is she is from Morocco, and Morocco has a very distinct way of saying Arabic stuff, very distinct dialect, because Morocco was basically conquered by Arabs at some point, and they were not speaking Arabic before that whatsoever, so they are basically a westernist part of this huge used to be Arabic empire. Exactly. And the way they teach, and Arabic is very different throughout the countries. Egyptian Arabic and Moroccan Arabic, they're very different in a way. So the way they teach Arabic in Dominions University is that they teach classic Arabic that everyone in theory...
Classic literature is like church language.
Yes. And what was actually lucky for you was that the girl could understand and could speak, because she is of very nice, family.
Well, I understand that she is of a good upbringing, because her accent was, more like the speakers at Al Jazeera than of a bazaar vendor.
Yeah. So she is not, average Moroccan girl, and she probably has a very good Arabic too. So, but she told me after we finished the conversation, in the finish of the conversation, he was like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna I'm gonna fly all the way to Stockholm and kill you. Murder with my bare hands over there." And he obviously speaks this in Russian just to make it sound even more sinister. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And after we hang up, she actually told me that you did really great job, and she was like very impressed by your level of Arabic, and I was like, this is bullshit. You're just trying to be nice. Yeah. So the reason I'm telling this story is because I was genuinely impressed that Dominic could produce some sounds back to a person who was speaking Arabic to him, and you have not been using actively Arabic, look, how long? Like 10 years?
Yeah, well, since 2009.
Yeah, so 10 years this year. So that's really impressive. And back to your story of learning English and so on and so forth.
Yeah, well, then I entered the University of International Affairs, and to get there, you already had to have a pretty impressive English, at least by Russian measures.
Yes.
So there, we would study mostly political language and headlines language and other stuff like that, slang of politicians, of American, all these words like caucuses and swinger states and all this election stuff from America, because, we were supposed to become spies or diplomats or whatever.
Yeah, infiltrate some countries. Just
we could
there.
influence presidential elections in America. Yeah. Say hello to this special prosecutor Mueller. What was that fool?
Yeah.
He failed to notice any.
No. Relax. We don't know all the details. They did not release the whole report
Because it's bullshit. That's why they didn't.
Okay.
Anyway,
whatever.
So this gave me quite a nice English, so that. Normally, people that do not see me and they do not know me, when I just for fun ask them to guess where I'm from, and they just say, "Oh, you must be from Germany." No, maybe Sweden. No, oh, Poland. No, and usually I just get tired of their guessing because they're getting to China and whatever.
Like shameless bragging is going on here. No, but this is actually quite true, because my guess is that it's not because you're speaking such a great English, but which is by all standards it's actually quite good. But because people generally suck at figuring out accents, especially English accents. It only works well if you're kind of a person who is all about hearing this accent and really interested into that. Because I myself, spending 5 years in Sweden, whenever a new person talks to me, I have already been a Swede, an Italian, Dutch guy, a German guy, French guy. No, actually, I have never been French, because French speak English with, you can always say the person is French, because, the way they make language more beautiful, because it is not beautiful enough. And and this is not because my English is so great, it's just because normally people are not really into this thing. But if you normally the way it works is if you talk to a native speaker of English, they can figure out pretty accurately where I am from, talking to you like for 5-ish minutes or even sooner. The rest of the populace of Europe, they really struggle to figure out where I am from. Well, at least in my case, it was working this way.
Well, I think there is another, cultural aspect here, because, people expect a Russian to talk like, "Rar, me kill, me strong,
yes, comrade,
me have missiles, rar."
Yes,
yeah,
exactly,
and if you're,
comrade.
if you're pretty civil, if you have, a large vocabulary...
Yeah, you don't look like a Russian person.
Yeah, you don't just have blooded teeth, and you don't have an AK, and you're not killing anyone. You're not, you're not dressed in a tracksuit. Well, people normally think that you must be someone nice and not a Russian. Quite not nice.
Because Russian is not nice, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Could be so. Still, we'll see. we'll see how it works in Asia, because I think I'm going to Shanghai pretty soon. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, well, rubber. They need a lot of rubber in Shanghai.
They don't have their own rubber?
They have a lot of rubber, but they have, well, 1.5 billion of people who eat a lot of rubber. Yeah, figuratively, of course. I mean, they have a lot of bicycles and cars and, other uses for
Rubber is in short supply over there. So,
Yeah, so-
Mother Russia can help them with that.
Yeah, so China has big plans,
Yeah, exactly.
and Mother Russia is to help them.
Yes.
Well-
That is where we gonna probably...
Yeah, we're gonna probably say до свидания, because,
До
well, I
свидания,
think
yeah.
we've done more to propagate a positive image of Russia than a certain
shit
government and agency in Russia has done in 5 years.
I like the level of modesty in your words.
Yeah, no, it's not
yeah.
the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I have absolutely no complaints about them. I mean some other structure,
Yeah.
less well known.
Russia Today?
No,
This-
Russia Today is pretty good too.
This, okay. We have something else apart from those guys?
Yeah, we have something else, and the fact that you don't even know jack about them speaks loudly about their
Yeah.
success.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your...
It's not sir, it's comrade.
I'm sorry, comrade.
Don't
I'm
forget
sorry.
your origins.
Yes. Let's don't forget about that. So, I think that is a pretty neat introduction into what Russia is.
Well,
and
it's
what
much,
Russia is not.
It went much better than I expected.
Yeah, well, I'm actually surprised that we talked almost twice as long as we're supposed to in the beginning. I was like, yeah, what are we gonna talk about? I have no idea. Like, yeah, sure.
Typical.
Yeah, typical, yeah. This is actually how the rest of the podcast is actually working for us. Like, usually we have this topic and everything is like, yeah, let's talk for 45 minutes. And then 2 hours later, we're like, oh my god, we need to stop right here. So, yeah, if you're a Russian speaker, congratulations on, making it to the end. And
Yeah, seems like you have a pretty decent English, and
Yes,
my
that's-
congrats.
That's impressive, and if you didn't even fall asleep, that's very impressive. We are proud to, speak the same language as you are.
Even
Speaking-
if you didn't understand half of it, well, that's still good, because that's how I started.
That's how people learn foreign languages.
Yeah, well, that's how people start.
Yeah, people start. Yes, and if you're a friend of ours, now you have an idea of who my nephew is or who is his uncle.
Well, then again, if you're my guildmate, then you have an idea of who my uncle is, and, well, my partner in crime.
Yeah, that is exactly what I just said. He's already you can hear it. He is already tipsy. Let's put it mildly. Yeah, these Russian guys. That is why I'm not in the country anymore, because I couldn't tolerate this. This is actually quite funny. I went to Russia for a week, and every day I was drinking with somebody. This is the thing over there. Anyways, we need to stop somewhere. Yeah.
My vodka glass is dry anyway.
Yeah, alright. Well, my friends, thank you very much for joining us today. I just want to remind that was the 3rd episode of Hobby Talk Special, and hopefully we will talk to you soon. Maybe not. And helping me in this great conversation was my partner, Domnin.
And,
yeah.
yes, I was helping my partner Aurelian.
Yep, and that was Hobby Talks podcast. So, thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.
Bye!